section 33.5 of chapter 33, which is called polarization. So when a wave has only y displacement in figure A, for example, we say that it is linearly polarized in the y direction. A wave with only uh, z displacements in linearly polarized is linearly polarized in the z direction. For a mechanical waves, we can build a polarizing filter or polarizer that permits only waves with a certain polarization direction to pass. So polarized waves on a string, making a polarized waves on a string from an unpolarized one using a polarizer first time. Okay, so the waves have linear polarized in the y direction and the b in the z direction. So if you create a barrier or a polarizing filter, the slot functions as a polarizing filter, passing only the components polarized in the y direction. Okay. So light is an electromagnetic waves. So therefore, we can actually make the a light polarized, linearly polarized by using filters or polarizing filters. See, so usually, like this, electrons in a red and white broadcast antenna oscillate vertically, producing vertically polarized electromagnetic waves that propagate away from the antenna in a horizontal direction. And in figure P, so no matter how the light bulb is oriented, the random motion of electrons in the filament produces unpolarized light waves. So comparing these two, our antenna is producing an electromagnetic wave that is polarized in two components, the magnetic field and the electric field. And in contrary, the light bulbs, no matter how you orient it, it will produce an unpolarized light. So if we use this incident unpolarized light as this symbol, okay, so the light bulbs look like this. This is the polarized. This is the unpolarized incident light. So an electromagnetic wave is linearly polarized if the electric field has only one component. So light, because the reason for this is that uh, the the only the electric field is considered, okay, because the this one only detects the electric field, not the magnetic field, the filter. So light from most sources such as light bulbs is a random mixture of waves linearly polarized in all possible transverse directions, such as light called unpolarized light or natural light, like this. So polarizing filter can convert the unpolarized light into linearly polarized light, like this. So by the use of the polarizing filter. So the incident light is light is lin the transmitted light is linearly polarized in the vertical direction. However, if you do this, the intensity that is being transmitted is actually being reduced. Okay, so we have here a Malus law. S- by using a polarizer and an analyzer, we can actually make a linearly polarized or a polarized light. So when a polarized light of intensity Imax is incident on a polarizing filter used as an analyzer, the intensity I trans of the light transmitted to the analyzer depends on an angle phi between the polarizer, which is this one is the polarizer, direction of the incident light and the polarizing axis of the analyzer. So if this is the direction of the analyzer and this is the direction of the polarizer, then the intensity of the light that passed to the analyzer uh, is equal to the I max, or the maximum transmitted intensity, cosine squared of phi, the angle between the polarizer of the axis of light and polarizing analyzer. So one of the applications for this is, you can see this is to our shades. Okay, atong shades are polarizer, considered to be polarizer. So it's okay. So by the way, very important thing. So let me con first. Very important concept here is that when when you have an I sub O here, initial unpolarized light with an intensity I sub O, after it passed here, uh, uh, after it passed a polarizing filter, I sub O will become, uh, it's actually I sub O now will become uh, I over 2. Okay, so the intensity of the polarized light being transmitted after passing the polarized will become half. Okay, so here's why. So we can resolve, because we can resolve the electric field of the incident wave into a component parallel to the polarizing axis of the component perpendicular to it. So because the incident light is a random mixture of all the states of polarization, the two components are on average equal. Okay. So after it passed the polarized light, the intensity is actually half, or the new intensity here is equally, after this one. So let's just put this as P is equally half of this. Then after passing the analyzer, the the I is just equal to the maximum transmitted I max, cosine of squared of phi. So this I max here is I over 2, the initial, or the let's put this the I max. Okay. So say for example, we have this example in our book where uh, where an incident unpolarized light has the intensity of I sub O. Find the intensity is transmitted by the first and the second polarizer if the angle between the axes of the two filters is 30 degrees. Okay, this problem involves a polarizer. A polarizing filter on an polarized light shines, producing the polarized light, and an analyzer, a secondary polarizing filter on which the polarized light shines, where we are given the intensity I sub O of the incident light at an angle of 30 degrees. So between the axis of the polarizers, we use the law to to solve for the intensities of the light emerging from the polarizer. So the incident light is unpolarized. Okay. So the intensity of the linearly polarized light transmitted by the first polarizer is I over 2. Okay, so pag mulabay na gani ka diri sa first polarizer. Okay. So pag mulabay gani ka sa, if this is your initial intensity. Okay. Pag mulabay gani ka diri sa first analyzer. So you will have a new intensity. So, ibutan na to nga, muna siya ang the maximum transmitted intensity which is equal to actually it will become I sub O over 2. Okay. So, let's go back. Okay. So, the, the incident light, so become, so from equation 33.7, which is theta is equal to 30 degrees, the second polarizer reduces the intensity by further factor of a cosine 30 degrees or the 3/4. Okay, so let's solve this. Okay, so after it passes the second polarizer filter, so this will become this uh, I sub O over 2 cosine squared cosine squared 30. Okay, so cosine squared 30 is just cosine squared 30 is just 3/4. Okay, it's equal to 3 over 4. So this will become your initial half times 3 over 4. So we have 3 I sub O over 8. Okay, so that is the answer. So don't forget nga pag mag-pass ka sa initial polarizer, ang imong intensity uh, will become half na of your initial intensity. And you have a component of the electric field which is the two components. Okay. After nag-pass ka sa analyzer, so your intensity now of the polarized light, so nanakay polarized light, so ang intensity na nimo is 3 over 8 of your initial intensity. Okay, like this. Okay, 3 over 8 of your initial intensity. So here we have unpolarized light, okay, with intensities I sub O is incident on the polarizing filter. Okay, so maybe let's get this image here. Mm, okay. So in example exercise 33.27, naka-unpolarized light with intensity I sub O is incident on the two polarizing filter. So this is your with intensity I sub O. Okay. The axis of the first filter makes an angle of 60 degrees with the vertical. So if this is the vertical, if this is the vertical, so it makes an angle of this one, which is phi is equal to 60.0 degrees. With the vertical and the axis of the second polarizer is horizontal. So instead of horizontal, so this is not gonna be, so this is the axis. Okay. This is the horizontal. Okay. So if this is 60 degrees and so if this is the analyzer, okay. Okay, this is the analyzer and this is the phi, okay. The phi which is 60 degrees. So this is now the angle of This is now the angle of the axis of the polarizer and the analyzer. This one, which is equal to 30 degrees, is the axis of axis is the angle between muna siya ang angle between sabutan nato ni siya polarizer and this is the analyzer. 30 degrees is the angle of the analyzer and the polarizer. So 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees. So solution now. Okay, solution now. You have an initial intensity. So after you pass to the polarizer to the polarizer. So your new intensity I max or the maximum kanang intensity nga transmitted from the polarizer is just equal to I over 2. Okay. Then the intensity of the light after it passed through the second filter. Okay. So the I, okay, the intensity is just equal to I over 2 using this law here over 2 cosine squared of 30 degrees. Okay. So cosine squared 30 is just equal to 3/4 again. So okay, so your intensity after you pass to the second polarizer is now around, so since this is equal to 3 over 4, so we have 3 over 8. So that is the intensity. So this is exercise 33.27. Okay, let's continue our discussion on polarized light. Okay, let's continue our discussion on the polarization. As we have discussed that unpolarized light can be polarized. There is also a phenomenon where polarization can be achieved by reflection. So because in 1812, a British scientist uh, called Sir David Brewster dis- discovered that an angle of incidence is equal to the polarizing angle theta p. Discovered that an unpolarized light can be polarized either partially or totally by a reflection. At He discovered that at one particular angle of incidence, called the polarizing angle theta p, the light for which E lies on the plane, okay, of incident is not reflected at all but is completely refracted. So when light strikes the surface at the polarizing angle, the reflected and the refracted rays are perpendicular to each other. So they seems to be perpendicular to each other. From that, Brewster law was being formed, and it states that the tangent of the polarizing angle is equal to the ratio of the index of refraction of the second material over the index of refraction of the first material. Okay. So we can see here that this angle here composed of three angles. So it's equal to 180 degrees, which is theta p plus the 90 degrees and theta b plus theta b. So here, if you want to find the theta b, it's just equal to 180 degrees minus 90 degrees minus theta p is equal to 90 degrees minus theta p, that is theta b. Okay. Using the law of refraction, Na sine of the theta a or theta p, which is because from the law of reflection, theta a is equal to theta p. So this is equal to NB sine of 90 degrees minus theta p. And sine of 90 degrees minus theta p, using the identity, this is just cosine of theta p. Okay, so NA sine of theta p equal to NB cosine of theta p. So we divide both sides, we multiply both sides by by uh, by 1 over uh, NA cosine theta p. Okay, so what happens in the left hand side will be sine of theta. Okay, let's put this sine of theta p cosine of theta p is equal to NB over NA. So this is equal to the tangent of theta p. Okay, so the tangent of theta p. So that's how you derive the Brewster law for polarizing angle. So take note that at theta p, the refracted and the reflected rays are perpendicular to each other. Okay. So to understand it better, let's have an example 33.6. So reflections from a swimming pool surface. The sunlight reflects off a smooth surface of a swimming pool. For what angle of reflection is the reflected light completely polarized? So what is the angle of reflection is completely polarized. Okay. Using the tangent of theta p is equal to NA over NB. Okay. We are asked to find we are asked to find what is the polarizing angle. Okay. Theta p is equal to the inverse tangent of 1.00 over 1.33. So we have 53.1 degrees. Okay. So for the letter B, okay, what is the corresponding angle of refraction? Okay. Let's see. Let's find theta B. Okay. How would you uh, how would you how would you answer this? So from our discussion, theta B is just equal to 90 degrees minus theta P, which is equal to 90 degrees minus 53.1. This is equal to 36.9 degrees. If you wonder where did we get this, okay, so take note that this is equal to 180. So we have 180 degrees. This is equal to, if you add this one plus the 90 degrees, so this one plus the 90 degrees plus the theta b. So in return, if you transpose this to here, so theta b is just equal to 180 degrees minus 90 degrees minus theta p is equal to 90 minus theta p. Okay. So for the letter C, okay. So at night, so you can also, I believe you can also find the theta b if you use the law of refraction. Okay, like this. Na sine of theta p is equal to nb sine of theta b. Okay, so theta b, I'm just gonna do the direct calculation algebra. You do the algebra of the NA over NB sine of 53.1 degrees. So you will find out that it's the same. Okay, shift tangent, shift inverse 1 divided 1 over 1.33 sine of 3.1. So 36.9 or mga 37. So it gives you 37. 36.9 to 37, like that. Okay, degrees. So, for letter C, what is the corresponding angle of refraction? At night, an underwater floodlight is turned into the pool. Repeat the parts A and B for the rays from the floodlight that strikes the surface from below. So it's different now. So this is the so what angle of reflection is the reflected light completely polarized. Okay. So again, uh, this is the A tangent of theta p is equal to the index of refraction of, of uh, this is now the NA over NB. This is now 1.33 because we are coming now from the water 1.00. So it implies that the theta is equal to the inverse tangent of 1.33 over 1.0. Okay, okay. So I mistakenly did uh, so this is, by the way, this is NB here, and this is NA, and this is actually 1.33 and 1.0. Okay, so here uh, NB and NA, and this is 1.0, and this is 1.33. So how much is this? 36.9. Okay, 9 degrees. Okay. For B, okay, again, we're gonna use the we can use this one. 9 theta B is equal to 90 degrees minus theta P. So this is also 53.1 degrees. You can also use the law of refraction if you want. Okay, law of refraction for this uh to get this. So that's the application for this. uh, subject. Okay. So I challenge you to answer 33.31 and 33.32. So now let's go to the scattering of light. So when you look at the daytime sky, the light you see is sunlight that has been absorbed and re-radiate in the variety of directions. So this process is called the scattering. Okay. It's called scattering. Uh, so light scattered by the air molecules and contains 50 times as much blue light as red. That's why the sky is blue. Okay. So as the original beam of sunlight passed through the atmosphere, so its intensity decreases as it its energy goes into the scattered light. Okay. So the detailed analysis of the scattering process shows that the intensity of light scattered from air molecule increase in proportion to fourth power of the frequency, inversely to the fourth power of the wavelength. So thus the intensity ratio to the two ends of the visible spectrum is about 15. So roughly speaking, scattered light contains 15 times as much blue light as red, and that's why the sky is blue in the morning. So however, in the afternoon, most of the scattered light, the in the afternoon, what happened is that when the sunlight has to travel a long distance through Earth's atmosphere, a substantial function of blue light is removed by scattering. So white light minus blue light looks like yellow or red. This explains the yellow or red uh, hue that we often see from the setting sun. That is why seen by the observer far from the right in the figure 33.31 in your book. So, ang ato day, ang mga air, ang light day as it passes to air molecules, it's being scattered. So since the blue light is being scattered 15 times as the blue light as the red, I mean as red, so that's why in the morning you can see that the sky is blue. But near the sunset, since all the blue was being is already scattered, and what's left is yellow or red, so that's why you can see in the sunsets the yellow and the blue, the yellow and the red color of the sky. So the clouds contain high concentration of suspended water droplets or ice crystal, which also scattered light. So because of the high concentration, light passing through the cloud has many more opportunities of scattering than does light passing through the clear sky. So thus light of all wavelengths is eventually scattered out of the cloud. So the cloud looks like white. So milk looks like white for some reason. The scattering is due to uh, globules suspended in the milk. So like the clouds, so the milk is also looks white because for scattering reason. So light is being scattered. So that's the reason why our sky is blue and what the cloud is white. So the last principle in this chapter is called the Huygens principle. States that every point in a wave front may be considered the source of the secondary wavelets that spread out in all directions with speed equal to the speed of propagation of the wave. The new wave front at later time t is then found by constructing a surface tangent to the boundary wavelets, or as it's called, the envelope of the wavelets. So the figure shows the application of the Huygens principle to wave from AA to construct a new wave to BB. Okay. So ang naitabuan ni as ang Huygens principle states that every point of a wavefront may be considered, so like this point, may be considered as the source of these secondary, like this, secondary wavelets. Okay. So you have this point, secondary wavelengths. Okay. And that secondary wavelets spread all out direction with a speed equal to the speed light of propagation. So we can predict now the new wavefront at later time t is then found constructing a surface tangent to the secondary wavelengths. We put a tangent line here. So or it's tangent to the secondary wavelengths, or it is called the envelope of the wavelengths. So the figure shows the application of Huygens principle to a wave A prime to construct a new wave of B prime. So nakahimutag new wave just by this principle. So Huygens principle usually was being used to derive the law of reflection, and law of refraction. Okay. So I want you to consult your book on deriving the law of reflection and law of refraction using the Huygens principle. I'm not gonna do it here, but uh, I will have a separate videos of that uh, later. Okay. So another phenomena called mirage. So a mirage are the example of the Huygens principle. So a thirsty traveler interpret the apparent reflecting surface as a sheet of water. Okay. So the hot air near the ground has a smaller index of refraction than the cooler air higher up. So the light travels faster near the ground. So the light travels faster near the ground. So thus the secondary wavelengths nearest to the ground have the largest radius. Okay, so mas dako siya itong secondary wavelengths is the largest radius nearest to the ground with largest radii is equal to VT. And the wave fronts tilt as they travel. So nag-tilt siya as they travel. So the mirage is is another example of a Huygens principle. So it's also an example of the culmination of the loss of refraction, the index of refraction, reflection, all of that. So that's the end of chapter 33.